create a Chatgpt plugin, the first thing you have to do is to create your manifest file. So in this video, I will tell you everything you need to know about the manifest file. Let's dig into it. So before we start this video, who am I to give you all those pieces of advice regarding Chatgpt plugins? Well, my name is Kevin. I'm the co-founder of Plugin Lab. Plugin Lab is a SaaS platform helping people to create and monetize their Chatgpt plugins. And for the past 4 months, I've been helping creators to create their Chatgpt plugin all around the world. Some of them registered more than 100,000 users using Plugin Lab and are making more than $30,000 of monthly recurring revenue with our platform. So for those reasons, I believe I'm the right person to give you some pieces of advice regarding plugins. So the first question is, what is a manifest file? Well, the manifest file is the first file you have to create if you want to create a Chatgpt plugin. This file describes how your plugin works and explains Chatgpt, but also your users, some basic description and information about your plugin. So for example, this file contains your logo, the name, the description for the users, as well as the description for the model, so Chatgpt and your users will understand what your plugin doing. This file also contains some technical information. For example, if you want to add authentication, you have to configure it using the manifest file. The manifest file has to be a JSON file, which has to be located at the specific path of your root domain. Obviously, if you use Plugin Lab to manage your plugin, you don't have to think about creating your manifest file or serving it to Chatgpt, because Plugin Lab will handle that for you. So Plugin Lab will provide you a form that you can update online and will update your manifest file every time you perform an action, such as, for example, adding a sign-in method to your plugin. Plugin Lab will update your manifest file and you'll not have to think about it at all. The second question you might ask is, what are the important fields of the manifest file? Well, the answer is simple. All fields are important, but those fields are not important for the same reason. So for example, if you look at the plugin store, you'll see that the first things we see when we look at the plugins are the logo, the name, and the description for human. So those fields are crucial if you want to drive more users to your plugin and hook them on the plugin store. You can also note that from a recent update, OpenAI now shows the legal terms URL of your plugin as well as your contact email. So be careful, they look serious when you're choosing them. Another quite important field that's often underrated is the description for model. If you create a simple plugin, this is probably not that big of a deal. But if you create a complex plugin that has to handle some complex logic, you probably want to add a long description for model. This description for model can be 8,000 characters long, and you can add as many information as Chatgpt will need in order to use your plugin the right way. Then other fields for configuring authentication are also indeed important, but if you use Plugin Lab, you don't even have to think about them since Plugin Lab handles that for you. The third question you could ask is there any requirements or constraints regarding the validation of the manifest file? Indeed, there are many requirements, and all of them are explained in the OpenAPI documentation, and I strongly you go over this documentation right after watching this video. The main requirement you have to keep in mind is your plugin name shouldn't contain Chatgpt, GPT, nor plugin, and obviously the description for human must be clear and should not contain any punctuation or grammar mistake. There are also some small constraints like the name, which can be only 20 characters long, but all of those small constraints are enforced by Plugin Lab. So if you're using Plugin Lab will display an error if you're making such a mistake. There is another important thing regarding the validation and the requirement of the manifest file, which is having a custom domain. So that leads me to the fourth question, why do you need a custom domain? Well, if you look the OpenAPI documentation, you'll see that your OpenAPI specification file domain, your contact email, and your legal terms must be under the same root domain. This is a constraint that many developers haven't respected so far, but at any time, OpenAI can just shut down those plugins. So I strongly suggest you create a custom domain and you use the same root domain for your plugin terms, your plugin API, your plugin front end, and also for your email. And the last question is, can you update the manifest file? Well, the answer is yes and no. Obviously, you can update your manifest file anytime because if you have it on your server, you can update it whenever you want. If you're using Plugin Lab, and you'll be able to update it as well. However, you have to know that any change to your manifest file will lead your plugin to get uninstalled and to get out of the store. The reason of that is your manifest file describes your plugin. So if you want to update it, you have to submit your plugin and go over the review process again. So how it works? So most likely when you update your plugin, Chatgpt will not unlist your plugin like right away. There is a cron task, and we don't know the interval, that may remove your plugin from the store anytime when it detects a change. But also, if you go to develop your own plugin and you reinstall your plugin as a developer with an updated version of the manifest file, Chatgpt will instantly remove your plugin from the store. In both cases, when Chatgpt removed your plugin from the store, you have to reinstall it as a developer using the develop your own plugin flow, and then you have to resubmit it using the submission bot. I know that many developers have been waiting weeks before a review, but now you have to know the review process is much better and you can expect your plugin to get reviewed in a few hours. That being said, I suggest you publish your plugin only during the workday to increase your chance of getting a fast review. That being said, if you don't see the develop your own plugin button on the Chatgpt plugin store, it means you don't have a developer account for Chatgpt plugins. So two things. One, I suggest you subscribe to the OpenAI waiting list so you increase your chances to get accepted for the next batch. Two, what you can do is reach out to me by creating an account and using Plugin Lab to create your plugin, and we'll see if we can find a way to publish your plugin right away, even if you don't have a developer account. So feel free to subscribe to Plugin Lab and reach out to me. If this video was helpful, feel free to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. This is very important for the channel, as you all know. That being said, I wish you a good rest of your day. Bye!